All right, we are here in the shop and I have got a gallon of Austin's Glazer's putty, and I'm going to show you today how you need to prep your putty before you're going to use it. A lot of people have asked this question to us over and over again, and it's all about, well, I get my putty and maybe it's got like some skin on top of it or some crusties. I don't know what to do. Can I use those or whatever? I'm going to show you exactly how I prep my putty before I use it when I get a fresh gallon or a fresh quart, and that way you can do the same thing and you can have your putty last longer and longer than it would otherwise, and you're going to get a smoother result out of this too. So to start with, we are going to open up our putty. One of the easiest ways to open up your putty, I've got a gallon of Austin's Glazer's putty right here, is you see these little slits right here. You can cut through these with a putty knife or a razor knife, anything that you want. These little slits will make it easier if you cut through them to get your putty open. I've already kind of opened the container here, so I'll show you what it looks like and what you can expect. Now with a putty like Austin's Glazer's or Sarco Type M, you're going to get a gallon full of putty and you're going to have this skinned over layer on top. That's not a problem, that is what to expect. But this skinned over putty, this is what it should feel like when your putty is ready for paint. But this skinned over section cannot be used to glaze. So the first thing you want to do is you need to come through and scrape off that top layer of putty. I know it's going to seem like, oh, what a waste, I'm losing putty. You're not losing that much putty, and it is just kind of a part of it. Just throw that excess putty away. You want to make sure you get all this skin, because once the putty has skinned, you're going to get chunks in your putty if you try and mix that back in. It will not get soft again. So this little bit of putty that is going to come off the top, the biggest place to be careful is right around the edges, because it's wherever air touches this putty is where you do get that skin. So being able to remove this, I feel I've got a little bit more right here I didn't quite get off. Take that all out. And I think I am pretty good now. I'm going to test a little bit, see if I feel any more of that skin in there. Oh, there's a little piece there. It's a little chunkier than the rest, you'll feel. Now you've got your putty ready to go. Now I'm just going to take out a bunch of putty, pretend I'm glazing a window, right? We're going to glaze, we're going to leave our putty like that. But this is not how I want to leave my putty. All right, I don't want to leave it in this condition. So take a look at this. I got a big chunk. There's a million places that air can get into. When I'm done glazing, I'm going to take my excess putty, I'm going to put it back in here, and I like to, with my knuckle, push all this down and get as smooth of a surface as you can. The less places for air to get in, the less skin you're going to get. It will skin again wherever it is touching the air. So that means if you need to, clean up around the sides, press your putty down like this, and now you can see I've got fresh putty, pretty smooth on top of here, but I still want to protect this from any future skinning, right? So what can I do? I've got a couple options. One, you could pour water on top of this, and that's an option that some people use. They'll pour water right on top, put the top back on, and you're good. What I prefer to do is I have a little piece of wax paper here. I just put my top down like that, use a razor knife to trace around my top on the wax paper, and the wax paper is going to be my new skin. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it actually works well that this is going to be slightly larger than the opening. Let's see. There we go. Look at that, I know how to make a circle. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to show you slowly, I'm going to press it down on top of my putty. Make sure there's no air trapped underneath there. Press it all out like that. And so you may have just a little bit that shows up around the edges, but mostly now your putty is protected from the air. You're not going to get any more skin on it. You can put the top back on. Your putty is sealed and ready for the next time you're going to use it. If you do that every time you get your putty out, then you're going to be good to go. And you can see in terms of a gallon, that's all I really lost, is that little bit on the top. I won't lose any more if I press it down like that and put wax paper on top going forward. You'll be able to use all the rest of the gallon. So, quick tip to help you. Now you know how to get the most out of your glazing putty. Just think of all the other things you could learn if you subscribe to this channel. You could be an old home genius, this generation's Bob Vila or Tom Silva. So what are you waiting for?